Champ and Contender Podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Champ and Contender Podcast. My name is Joseph J. Jones.
My name is Fabian Collymore.
I'm a singer-songwriter.
And I'm an ex-athlete for Great Britain.
And we interview the champs and the contenders of this world from all different walks of life. We interview actors, we interview athletes, we interview boxers, we interview musicians, and we've got one of the coolest musicians around, singer-songwriter, bassist, and all-round cool guy, Seye Adelekan. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Nice one, chaps. Good to be here.
Thanks for coming down. Thanks for coming down.
No worries, man. This is a wonderful space you got.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
As we said, it is dripping with West Ham and...
Yeah, we'll get to that. No, it's nice, man. Yeah, good to be here. I like the vibe. I like the concept.
Yeah.
You got the West Ham colours on today.
Actually, yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's true. What's the word for this? It's
Claret.
Claret. That's
Claret.
it.
There you go. There you go. Well, listen, we got a bit of a weird backdrop. I used to have this thing that I did called the Gimps, and I would ask, interesting and wonderful people if they wanted me to gimp them, which means draw them as an alien without a nose and wrinkly skin and all this stuff. You said, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then I sort of ended up doing the whole Gorillaz live band.
Yeah.
Which was credit to you, and I really appreciate it. And it was just, could you retweet it so get some likes and stuff like that? And then I was asking you, I do a podcast, and you're probably like, what the hell?
I was a bit, because that's quite a 180. This is not that.
No.
And also just a testament to you how, a creative person is a creative person regardless of how it's expressed, so it's like, why not do a podcast? Put your hand to something else.
Exactly. And I never sort of said, I'm a singer-songwriter. Maybe that's the first thing you should say to someone like you. That's what I do.
I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot recently, about identity and in particular as creative people saying I'm a musician, or I'm a this, I'm a that, as if, or music is my life. And I'm just actually, I don't think that's healthy. It's music is part of my life, or music is the heart of my life, or the most special part, or for you, when you were doing athletics, it's that was one of your things. But it's if that's all you've got, if that's all you are, I've seen it turn bad. And in fact, it's turned bad for me. We'll get to, it's funny, we're in a pub and I'm almost 6 years sober, but there's a reason for that. And I think it was because I let my music become all I was. And if I was getting no attention from that, I felt terrible. And I, just get into this dark place. And then you start doing mad things to get more attention, And it's just yikes. Yeah.
I relate with that so much, because it is, my mates are there's so much more to you. Why, this isn't the be all and end all of you. And then I remember being 27, 28, and the 27 club thought coming to my head.
Mate, yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You sort of go, well, if I go now, my music will become legendary, and that's the strive forward. I mean, I'm not talking about committing suicide and things like that, don't worry. But the thought of just insanity comes into your head that you want to be this is everything. I want to be this musician.
Yeah.
And because, the first thing as well, I mean, we're going pretty hardcore already.
Yeah, go straight in.
But
welcome, guys.
Yeah. But the first thing is no one says, how are you? It's how's the music doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that becomes your everything.
Yeah. And what's even kind of more depressing is say, I've got a lot of friends who are, say, teachers or have quite regular jobs, etc. And every now and then I'll see one after a long while and be like, oh, you're still doing the music? I'm like, it's so funny. That's on the one end, it's how's the music going, as if that's all you can do. And are you still doing music, as if it was just some sort of random hobby?
Yeah.
And it's this is a real serious thing. It's been, I think, 17 years for me now.
Yeah. I got that yesterday.
Really?
Someone goes to me, are you still running? I'm nearly 40, I'm 40, bro. I'm not still on the track. Come on.
Yeah, but like we said earlier, I think it really, that connected with me, just hit me when you just said it, when it, you shouldn't just say that's what you are, To me, what I'm realising now is say this. Yeah, it'd be great you get a sponsorship, but for me, this is the reward, talking to interesting people and meeting and making connections and who cares now? Like, put music out, you know, train young up and coming people and enjoy it, you know. But anyway, look, we've sort of gone into it before we've said anything. Listen, for those who don't know you, Seye, tell us who you are and what you do.
So my name's Seye Adelekan. We met. I play bass guitar in the Gorillaz live band, and with Damon Albarn in general. I play in his solo outings as well. And I've been a session musician since I was 18. I'm 36 now. And I've done, and I had a record deal, and that, you know, also kind of happened. And I'm releasing solo music now as well. And I sort of write, I produce, I sort of compose, doing bits for film, etc. And I've grown up all over the place. So like I'm half Nigerian, half Kenyan. Was born in Nigeria, moved to Holland when I was 2. Moved back to Nigeria when I was 6, and I moved here when I was 9. Then I did my 6th form in Ecuador. So like lots of moving around, big family. I'm the youngest of 6, music everywhere. So it kind of, I grew up around this kind of like moving around, and there always being music in the house. You know, I grew up in the church, as most sort of African kids do. And we were like singing 6 nights a week as a family. You know, like read the Bible, sing, pray every night. Dad would get his guitar out, they had songbooks, and we picked songs and sing. So I was kind of getting trained in music before I knew what I was doing, really. It was just, it just came sort of second nature. And also with moving around, it was just like I was getting trained to go on tour in a quite funny way. So I'm really used to being in new places. I'm really used to being the odd one out. I'm really used to having to assimilate really quickly, make a rapport with someone really quickly. And these are all skills that help you with being a musician. And they're all skills that I think they help you in life, I think, in general. It also has a downside. I'm really easy at leaving. I'm really easy at like cutting ties.
Right.
I don't own any really old things. Like, you know, some people, they say, oh, this is the blankie my nan gave me when I was 3. They still got it. I'm just like, I've got none of that stuff.
Really?
And that's not to say that people in my family don't. Like my eldest sister, she's got loads and loads of old photos and stuff, but I'm very transient. I can be. Sort of quite nomadic. But yeah, I'm just a full-time creative person, and it's changed quite a lot in the years that I've been doing it, as you know as well. It's like, I mean, this podcasting didn't exist like not only a few years ago, really, or just the ability to be able to do it like yourself, you know, at this quality that you guys are doing it with all this gear, you know, like. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting journey, but I'm still in it. You know, I always do lots of crazy things, so I'm just really, really lucky to be able to do that.
You touched on your whole family working together and playing music every day of the week. You give me that feeling of the Jackson 5.
Yeah. Well, we would perform in church as well, so as a family.
Okay.
So like all 8 of us, I guess. There was an element of that, but it was never like. It's funny. My dad's an engineer, so it's like. Music didn't seem like it was a path, you know. They were quite heavy on like, you know, you got to smash it at school. You know what I mean? And I was not that good at school. I was good at English, I was good at drama, I was good at music, but pretty much everything else, like I failed maths GCSE, like it was not great. But my dad somehow and my mum have somehow cultivated this household where actually there's 3 professional musicians in the family, and there's one of my brothers is like he does computer like CGI for films, and other sister works in like PR, and so it's like, so, I don't know, somehow maybe because it didn't seem like it was a path, that no one thought that they had to like. We didn't all go to like music college and like study it, and like, well, actually my oldest brother did, but it was open. Like we kind of just did it because we wanted to, and did it because we liked it. And for some of us, it just so happened to turn into a job. Like I'm still technically on my gap year. Like, I was going to go uni. I was accepted to Warwick, I think it was, to read English. And on my gap year, I was sleeping on my brother's couch, who's also a bass player, plays in a band called Metronomy. And I was just sleeping on his couch, and he was playing with an artist, and he couldn't do one tour, so he was like, "Look, get off your ass, learn these songs, and try and cover me for this." That was like November 2006, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah. It's the way to be, though, isn't it? I think if you say you're going to be something, like I'm going to be a singer, and like I find it if you know, or a bass player or a session, you know, if you just do it and you see how it goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Nike.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah,
Nike's got you want to sponsor, yeah.
Yes, for the pub place. But like your brother plays bass as well, right?
Yeah.
So do you guys like at Christmas and all that, like bass offs and things like that? Or
he's got 2 kids, so Christmas is about the kids, basically. So no, we don't really. But we don't play that much together, actually. Again, we're so busy, especially for touring, we're sometimes in the similar cities at the same time, but not very often. But when we see each other, we tend to just hang out, or like playing with his kids, or we just we go to a gig, or we eat, you know what I mean? Like, we don't jam like that these days.
But it's the thing in it, like I always find with music, it's sort of the furthest I want to get away to relax, if you know what I mean. So I don't know if it's the same for you, but hearing that with your brother, it's sort of like,
yeah. And it's funny. It's not, I don't think it's necessarily a conscious thing, but when we see each other, we just want to hang out. I'm one of those guys. All my mates who don't do music go to gigs way more than I do. Like, it's not my idea of a relaxing night out. No,
definitely not.
Going to the office on a weekend, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you'd rather be on the stage doing it.
Oh, like 100%.
Yeah. I was always felt like I always brought a bit of a boxing mentality to, you know, being a musician and a songwriter. Get me on a stage, get me as like sort of pacing up and down.
What was your pre-gig, like, hood up? Were you like punching a wall?
Well, it was my pre-gig thing was I'd always do my warm up, like regardless, like look after the pipes, so to speak. Wish I could say that now, but I would always look after my pipes, and then it was like I just wanted to be as far away as possible from the venue, so no one talks to me, no one sees me, sort of thing. And it's just, I don't want to see anyone in the room. And if it was like a sold out room or anything like that, jump on a stage like, yes, let's go for it.
Yeah.
You know, I suppose it is a bit like the calm down nerves, you know, like secretly.
Yeah. How about you before you competed?
Before I competed, it was just music on. So it's complete opposite to you guys. You want to be away from the music, whereas I want to be
that put you in
the music,
the zone,
and be in the zone. But it's weird. Mine was very much slow jams.
Oh, right.
Like very calming, bring myself down.
Wow.
And then as soon as I get onto the track, it's like explosive.
Wow.
Get into it. So it's very, very calm. Like the warm up's fine. Get out on the track. You switch on.
That is so interesting.
So what about for you though?
Yeah.
So it slightly depends on the gig, but I mean, it used to be like vodka shots sort of every 10 minutes before, from about half an hour before the gig, it was like vodka shots every 10-ish minutes.
Wow.
And maybe something else if it was knocking about.
Yeah.
And I'd just be drinking all day, really. That was my vibe. Now it's more, now I'm actually quite relaxed with it. I'm not superstitious in that way. Some people need to do the same thing, you know, to get into the right headspace, and I'm so much more detached to it now. Like, if I've done my work, if I've prepared, if, you know, the band are well rehearsed, then I should be calm.
Yeah. Like,
if I'm really nervous before a show, I know I've done something wrong, or I know something I haven't prepared enough, or something has been left unchecked. Because I'm like, I think a lot of people ask me this question, actually. It's like, how do you I think there should be a level of nerves. Yeah. It means that you're in the room, you're alive, you know, you're connected to the moment.
Yeah.
But people ask me, is like, how do you get rid of stage fright? And I most of the time think stage fright is a lack of preparation.
Yeah.
Because the only times when I've really felt bad being on stage, it's like, I knew I blagged it. And and it's the worst place to feel like you're blagging it. It's like on stage in front of people, just like on the lights. It's suddenly the worst place in the world. Whereas when you are prepared and you're doing well and you're in the moment, it's the best, regardless of how many people are there. It just feels really good to do it well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so instead of doing vodka shots now, I do ginger shots.
Oh, amazing.
So I have like not necessarily like as many as before, but it's like 2. I tend to have them. Sometimes have like a alcohol-free beer, but actually those just kind of bloat me before playing, so I tend to save those till after.
Well, look, I want to say a big thanks to you for coming into the pub, because look, I just want to say this for people watching, because we've had a good friend of Fabian's come in, and as a friend of mine who had a big drink and drug addiction,
right? And
I always felt like, is it insensitive to say come to the pub to have an interview? And like, you know, first and foremost, you agreed it, but for me, I grew up in pubs, and like some of the best times I've had in pubs is just with a can of Coke and like a packet of crisps. Like the environment of a pub doesn't have to be about the drink.
No, and I actually think that's one thing that I chat to Americans about this a lot, because they don't have a pub culture.
No.
They got bars.
Yeah.
And I was like, and even some of their the things they call pubs, I'm like, bro, that's a bar. It's not the same. No. And I actually think it's one of the best things about Britain is, you know, a public house. It's like, it's a place you can just go sit, chill, chat, and celebrate. So it's like, I love pubs, and I used to think I loved them just because I got pissed there.
Yeah.
And I actually think that's a shame for what those things should be, and historically have been, I guess, places to gather and, you know, discuss and just be with people that you love or whatever, or just bump into new people. You know, people do get smashed in there, but also I think I don't want to go through life now that I'm sober just avoiding places that I like or avoiding functions that I want to go to. What I won't do though is like what I used to do, is just rock up to the pub and just sit there, you know, for no reason.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, no, if I'm going to go there, I'm going to go to see someone, or if I'm going to, you know, or football's on, I'm going to go with a friend to watch that or something. I don't go out to like pubs and bars just for the sake of it. I just go for a reason.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I was quite recently sober, I would still just go sit in the pub in the day and like just smash a bunch of like alcohol-free beers. I was just like, I'm just doing the same things. And I think just 1, 2, skip a few, and it will probably end up being a full blown whatever. I had to check myself in that respect. But no, mate, I think this is lovely, and I don't like people who are in recovery and sober who are like turbo militant, because I also didn't have, not all my memories are terrible either.
No.
And I think people need to let off steam, people need to celebrate, people need to hang out with friends. And if that involves a bit of booze, you know, I'm not going to judge anyone. For me, things went off the rails, so I needed to check that. And some people are predisposed to that. Some people, life forces that into you. I think I think everybody needs to at least question how they're drinking, because it's one of the most powerful substances on the planet and kills more people than like most things. So actually you're playing with something really dangerous. I think it's worth questioning your frequency or just your relationship with it. But I don't think everybody should be sober. I don't want everyone to be sober.
No, I love, you know, I love having a Guinness. I got a mean relationship with a Guinness, like in a good way. But it's like the other day I was, you know, sitting down, and because my wife is literally ready to pop,
mate, proper.
we was messaging back, but baby here yet? I was like, no, you might have to lift the leg up.
Yeah, like, that is so funny. I was eating like a tangerine and I spat it out when he texted that. I was like, it's hilarious.
I was worried when you went to go and pick him up. I was like, oh my gosh,
it's going to happen and you're going to be the only one in the yard.
Yeah. Fabian! I was like, no, don't happen now.
Your dog Frank being no help.
Oh mate, listen, Frank is going to
What are you going to do? Is he going to come to the hospital?
No, we're having a home birth.
Oh mate.
So we're having a home birth with a pool, so it involves 2 midwives coming over. Her due date is 4 days from now,
mate.
which is St. Patrick's Day, which I really hope she's born on.
Mate, come on.
I would love it.
Come on.
I would love it. But Frank's going to my mum and dad's down the road, and he ain't coming back till she is wrapped up, and we know that he's all right, you know.
Smart.
But, you know, I yeah, as I say, with Guinness, like, I love a Guinness, but like, I went to the Dogs with my mates the other day because they had a do sorted, and I thought, I'm not drinking. And I sat there with Guinness Zero.
Yeah, Guinness Zero's legit, man.
It tastes exactly like it.
Legit.
And I probably had a better time.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them become fools, you know, and I'm
funny.
still enjoying that.
It's funny.
And then all of a sudden I can have a Coca-Cola as well with a bit of sugar or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and I felt absolutely great. So you don't have to be in a pub to do it. No. But I just wanted to say, for the record, I really appreciate you coming down.
And I appreciate you even asking if I was comfortable or whatever. So that's cool, man. I appreciate it.
No worries. Let's talk about Gorillaz.
Yeah.
How did that come around?
Okay, so I mentioned that I had a record deal. So in my early 20s, I was signed to a label called Mercury Records, and I released a couple small things, but I didn't really do anything. But while I was with them, I managed to get in contact with this guy called Stephen Budd, who works with this thing called Africa Express. So Damon Albarn has this thing called Africa Express, which is a project that gets African musicians and sort of Western musicians and puts them together in some different city, and either does like shows or does a big gig or makes a record, often makes a record and does a big show. And in 2012, that's the first one I did, which was the Olympic year. So,
Right, yeah.
And Africa Express has never been in the UK. So for the first time, was actually getting chartered a train and went around the UK playing shows. I somehow managed to connect with someone who was one of the organisers of this and said, "Do you want to come on board?" And it was really, really cool. It was like 85 musicians of every kind of creed and colour and sound, like people from legends like John Paul Jones, bass player from Led Zeppelin, Tony Allen, may he rest in peace, Fela Kuti's drummer. So Paul McCartney joined us on the last night. But from that to like, I was on there, Rizzle Kicks were on there, Temper Trap were on there. Who else? Ray Morris was on there. Nick Zinner from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs was there. Like, so it was like a really crazy. Carl Barrett. What's it called?
Oh my God! Can I just say something? You've clicked something in my brain.
What?
I think I've met you at a Ray Morris gig. I opened up for Ray Morris, and I'm sure I met you.
Maybe. Was this like time ago?
Yeah, this was 7-8 years ago.
It's quite possible.
Wow, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's
I had
cool.
to get that off my chest, and I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
As you've said that, I opened up for Ray Morris, and Ray come out, and it was just as her latest album was about to pop, and
Honestly, I can't really remember, but maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. A long time ago.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure you were there.
But I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. But so yeah, it was this crazy thing. And I'd just been on, so part of this project, kind of every artist who goes on it is allowed to perform a song basically, because the gigs we were doing were like 4 hours a night. And we'd kind of just rehearse them up during the day. So if I had a song, I'd be like, go to the organisers, like, I'd like to play a song with, I love it if Damon could be on piano, if, you know, I could have a Congolese percussion section, or if, you know, you just meet people and just ask them to be involved in your thing. But I had just come off like quite a lot of touring and I couldn't really sing. So I was just like, I'm not going to try and sing any of my songs. I'm going to just play with as many people as possible and just jam, because I'm an instrumentalist as well. So I got on this train and there was a jam cart. I saw a guitar, I picked it up, started playing, and then Damon jumps on keys, and Paulie, the PSM, who's Paul Stanley McKenzie, he's Harry Styles' musical director. He jumps on drums. It's like all these people we just start jamming, and me and Damon immediately click.
Right.
And I'm just playing with everyone, and I'm playing like with 15 people a night because I learn really quickly. And also I just vibe hard. So I was just like involved. And eventually he asked me to play with Paul McCartney on the last night, which is pretty wild.
Cool, mate, as a bassist as well.
Yeah. Actually, I was playing guitar with that. It's funny, I was playing guitar first. But
It's a Beatle.
yeah. And it's just like, it's crazy. and then so Damon asked me to come to Mali to make a record for this Africa Express thing. So we did that in 2013, and then he was doing his solo album, his first solo album called Everyday Robots, and he asked me if I wanted to be in that band. So we toured that for a year or two, and after that he's like, I've got a new Gorillaz record coming up. Do you want to be in that band? And I haven't stopped.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was quite an organic thing.
So what is it like working with Damon? Like
really
on
cool.
a day-to-day basis?
Really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's demanding because there's so much music, and he's just a really creative, really gifted dude. So you have to be on your game. But there's also how can I describe it? There's a level of seriousness to it, but there's also levity. There's also like, this isn't that serious, which I really love. Like for someone at them levels, and he's like, these are the highest of levels, you know, like we also just don't take ourselves all that seriously. Like mistakes are allowed to, you know, happen. Not mistakes because like making mistakes because you're pissed is not a good idea. You know, it's not welcome. But like if you have a little slip on stage, you know, or like you slip and make a little thing. It's like there's all of that because we all mess up, and you know, so it's wonderful because it's really challenging. It's really engaging. You have to be good at, or at least be able to reference like so many different styles of music because his just the breadth of his work is so wide. Like I have to play everything from like dub to punk in the same gig. So it's like to like electronic weird, you know, beep, beep, bop, bop, like it's the weird everything. Like so it's really cool. And also I think his superpower is putting people together, putting cool people together. There's always like we're surrounded by just the most interesting people. It doesn't matter what sex you are, what age you are, where you come from, what language you speak, there's just always someone dope knocking about. So yeah, it's been such a musical education, just seeing how he works and just being in that really creative environment. Yeah, it's been so cool.
To even do, what was the name of the project again that you said with the musicians where you...
Africa Express.
So even that's Damon Albarn essentially going, I'm going to do a Gorillaz as like a college-esque type thing. Like people play with everyone and...
Yeah.
I mean, I was explaining like, you know, are they a band? Are they, you know, it's like, it's a project. And if you don't understand that, like I think the streets as a project.
Yeah. It's an approach. Yeah. It's like, it's about experimenting. It's about putting yourself in a new position all the time, actually, because there's no two songs are the same, no two days actually even performing the same song. It doesn't happen the same way twice. So I love that. You're right, it's about a project more than just like one thing. And I think all great artists are like that. They evolve and they change, and like the Streets, or even someone like George Michael, you know, the way they started and where they ended up is like completely different. Like Prince's sound from the beginning to the end is very, very different. And it's like all the greats aren't afraid to evolve and aren't afraid to maybe lose a few fans along the way because they do what they want. David Bowie's actually probably one of the best for references for that, because he had many phases. I always say that I think if your favorite artist, if you like everything that your favorite artist does, they probably weren't really doing what they wanted. It's like if they were being true to themselves, you wouldn't like it all. And I actually think it's all right to not like all of your favorite singers' stuff. It doesn't mean you don't like them, but it just means that there's no way that someone's gonna always want to do the exact thing that you want to hear. If they're truly trying whatever they feel, it's never going to be the exact same as you all the time. And I'm just like, it's a bit like, you know, Radiohead, you know, I love them. Some records I can do without. And every artist I love, I think, has a couple that I think are a stinker, but then someone else is like, oh, I love that record. It's just like, cool. It should be a bit like that. I think like artists that sort of go a bit sort of loopy are the ones who are just constantly trying to please everyone.
God, the old pop market. But it's not about, listen, popular music's popular music for a reason, right?
But it's like sort of that crass commercial, like no other point to it than just being the biggest thing now.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's just like that is just vapid and like empty calories.
That's essentially why me and my label sort of parted ways. I was with Communion.
Oh, yeah.
So I was with those guys, and God bless them, love them, gave me a great career, done some great things, played with some amazing musicians, and I loved it. But then it did feel like there was like this, because I have a soulful, deep voice, all these guys started popping out, like Rag and Bone Man, and then you had like Sam Fender was coming along, which was, it's not a deep voice, but that's soulful.
It's kind of, yeah.
So like I always remember reading an article like, out of these guys, who's the next one to do it? I was like, this. And I was like, going back to the studio, I was like, I want to do a singer's version of The Streets. I want to do, and I called the project Human Z, and I wanted it to be this totally different thing. And we was just a little bit like, what the hell was going on here? But now one of those songs is coming out, little plug. One of those little songs is coming out, well, next week. But
sweet.
When people hear this, it'll be later on. But it's funny, like, the roof that is Gorillaz, you talking about it, essentially is what I wanted for this pod. I didn't want it to just be one thing.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be like if you like music, then take all these things. But like if you like sport, if you like acting, if you're into, because you're never, you can't tell me you've never had influence from movies.
No, mate.
You know, or influence from watching a game of football.
Yeah.
Or the feeling that it gives you.
Inspired by, I mean, if you're a proper, and I actually think athletes in particular, you have to be creative, you have to be all of the same things apply. In fact, all the same things apply to all of these disciplines, whether to be a great actor, to be a great athlete, to be a great, I don't know, boxer, to be a great archer, you know, whatever. You kind of have to be willing to accept, not willing to accept no, to, you know, keep doing the thing in spite of, you know, common sense, to like push through boundaries, to spend lots of time alone, to, you know, put in more effort than anyone else, all of these things, and be creative. I think actually one of the things, I don't know why it keeps going through my head, but I think there's a creativity that is also across the board with all these disciplines. It's just like all the best ones have, like, they may have a, you know, talent, which is one thing, but they also work super hard, and then that thing to just think something different in the moment, it's just like an X factor that you can't really describe. But no, I think this pod, like, why not? Why wouldn't an actor have something to offer a footballer, or a footballer have something to offer a?
Well, we've linked people up in the past off the back of it, and we only I'd love David Beckham to walk in here, but it's not about that for me. It's about people that we like and respect what they do coming in, and then, you know, someone's been like, oh, I do this, and it's more sport based, but then we know a musician, maybe in grime, that we're like, we can link you guys up to do something, like whether it be the track on your next promo video and stuff like that. And that's so rewarding. Like, I've never met someone like, it sounds like we're blowing smoke up our asses there, and this is about you.
Never met someone like us.
Yeah, exactly. Never met someone like Fabe on an equal level that just enjoys doing it, like something for other people. You know? And that's the sort of rewarding part of it. But listen, I'm very envious you get to play, in my head, one of the best bass lines of all time, which is Feel Good Inc. Like, I love that.
Yeah, it's fun to play.
I think, what's your favourite one to play for Gorillaz?
Honestly, it changes but I mean, some don't ever get old, and some have to be. We play Feel Good every night, like Clint Eastwood, Feel Good, Dirty Harry, Stylo.
They're gems.
Yeah, I mean, they are, but they all, Rhinestone Eyes, kind of Last Living Souls, like some of those songs are like, we kind of play those pretty much every night, and they don't get old. We also approach it with whatever the vibe is on the day. Like, obviously there's structure, and obviously we play with huge screens, and there's like visuals that have to be, you know, it's all time coded, you know, like often if there's like not the featured rapper or the featured singer, there'll be a video of them on the screen, you know, at least in the repping in the room, you know. So things have to be a certain length, etc. But the vibe you bring, it depends on if it's kicking off and we're in Mexico, then we bring whatever the vibe is in that room, and different places bring different things out of us. So it's fun, and I'm reminded quite frequently at how sort of lucky I am to do it, but also I have to remember that I'm also not blagging it, and I'm not here not for a reason.
You deserve it.
I do, and that's not to say that other people don't. I think that's one thing that I think people get wrong about, say, bigging themselves up. To big yourself up doesn't mean to put other people down. It just means that I deserve it, but if someone else had the same circumstances and got in the door before I did, they would deserve it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, but it just so happened that the stars aligned and fell to me, and I ran with it. Yeah. and still run well with it. But yeah, man, it's a mad. We were talking in the car just like how mad this job is, and just this doing creative things, and it's really tough. And so yeah, to still be doing it so many years later, that's pretty cool.
You was talking about inspiration earlier. What inspires you, and what gets you your creative juices going?
Mate, cooking. I love cooking.
Wow.
And it to be honest, in a weird way, COVID is one of the good things I got out of COVID. Like, that really accelerated my cooking. So I'd just come out of rehab, and I stayed with my parents just in Chorley. They retired just outside Manchester, and I was living with them for like 2020 basically. Mm-hmm. And I ended up just having to cook for them twice a day, or for all of us. And that I was just obsessed, man, just like YouTube and stuff, and like trying one day I'll try baking cookies, one day I'll do a roast, one day I'll try something else. That was really, really cool. I just felt like I could do something different that was creative, and I could access different parts of me. I was just like, oh, all right, I'll try this, and like problem solving, like I ruin a sauce or something, and just like, how do you bring this back? And sometimes not being able to, and just being like, this is peak, I just have to eat it. Cooking I think is one of my favorite things. I'm fully obsessed, and things to do with cooking. Like, I love cookware. I got well into watching people make knives.
Oh wow, yeah.
I did a what's it called? A culinary course, like a knife skills thing. I did like a butchery day, like breaking down like a cow and stuff. Wow. It's pretty gnarly, but it's really, really fun.
So what about in the studio? What inspires you when you're in the studio?
In the studio, it's funny because that's when it becomes craft, because inspiration, someone has a wicked quote about inspiration, like, basically inspiration is like a mistress that seldom knocks at your door or something. It's like, actually, inspiration is rarely there. Them like lightning strike moments where it just like it all comes out. Okay. It's like you kind of just have to be in the room and be willing to write. Maybe you have ideas already written down. Maybe you pull something that you've, like an old voice note from somewhere before. Maybe you're working with someone who wants to do something acoustic, so that's at least a direction to start. You kind of have to add the forward motion before inspiration can turn up, because if you're just waiting to be truly inspired, you're never gonna do it. And sometimes it does happen though. Like, you also have to just be instinctive. Like, if I pick up check this out.
There you go.
Like, as soon as you just start doing something, you just have to follow it. Like, sitting in a pub. Where's this place? In Church. I don't know where I'm gonna go. You know what I mean? Like, where I'm gonna go. Will I get back on the district line? Like, you kind of just have to just be completely in tune with what's happening.
Keep it.
Oh yeah, right. I might give you one in a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Give us one at the end for sure. I wanted to. We was talking about inspiration and obviously Gorillaz and stuff like that. Like, I am building up to you and your stuff. Sweet. I want to ask you about what is it like. I mean, the bass is such a particular instrument to go towards, whereas you know, it's either piano or guitar, right?
Yeah.
And what am I trying to ask you? I'm trying to ask you, finding a voice, you know?
Yeah, so that's actually a good way of putting it. I did start playing, I was playing guitar first, and I write a lot I write on the guitar, more so. Piano, I didn't like my piano teacher when I was a kid, so that kind of ruined it. But there's so many great pianists who could have been, if not for a terrible teacher when they were a kid. It's such a shame. And so I write a lot on guitar, and I can play pretty well on the guitar, but finding a voice, I just found that the bass is the most sort of instinctive thing for me. Like, the distance between an idea and it coming out on the bass is way shorter than anything else. It's just like, I think a line and I can kind of play it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it just connects in a different way. And that's not to say that I'm not the best bass player in the world by a long shot. I've got some unbelievable friends who are playing in like top bands who could actually like murder like me, but I find a way of expressing myself with it, and I've got good enough technique and good enough like musical knowledge to be able to play really well in many contexts. So yeah, I just find that it just connects with me, I guess, in kind of a mystical way. It's just like, it's almost like it chose me. It sounds really like
no, but
it's just like the way it just makes sense to me and just feels good is I just can't explain it. There's no reason why that should be the case.
Yeah, I read something like years ago, like about, and I'm not religious really, but like how muses, and it sort of made sense to me in a way, like when you get like an epiphany idea or something falls out of you, and I'm not musically trained, right? And I'm dyslexic, and like you say, with someone teaching you piano, if there's sheets in front of me, I don't want to know. I have to do it on my own.
Yeah.
So like, by no means, at a stretch of the imagination, am I a good guitarist, but I learned enough to be like, I'm going to accompany what I'm naturally good at, which is my voice. And it's like this thing of like, you know, the angel, so to speak, if you want to go there, will push ideas through you, and it falls out. And I never understood some of the best stuff I've ever written. I was like, where did it come from?
You didn't write it. No, that's it. You feel. I love it when that happens, because it's almost like you were just a spectator.
Yeah.
Like you were there, you witnessed the birth of a song as opposed to you made it happen. Yeah. Which again, I think is like, we need to, in the same way that I'm lucky to have, you know, been born where I was born, to end up, my parents ending up where they ended up, doing XYZ, and I ended up in Gorillaz. It's like, obviously I worked hard, obviously I can play, obviously all this stuff, blah, 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 but there's an element of just it coming and happening to you that I think is really healthy. It's really healthy to just think that it's not all just down to you. In this case, it's kind of, again, I keep knocking on sort of this sort of sobriety thing, but like in sober fellowships, you know, you deal with the concept of a higher power, regardless of what that is to you. And in fact, you don't even have to be religious at all, but it's holding your hands up and being like, I can't shift this thing on my own. Like, this thing is bigger than me, and there are things bigger than me. In fact, one of the things about addicts and addiction, etc., is it's about being in control. Whereas actually, being sober is kind of about letting go. And I think that's true. There's just like you kind of have to hold your hands up sometimes, in particular when you're writing a song. Like, try and direct it, you know, but sometimes the bit that takes it that extra little bit has got nothing to do with you, and that's all right.
Do you feel like you push yourself into the music more since you've become sober?
Mate, so a lot of things I thought would be different now. Well, I'm just surprised at what is different. I was scared. I thought my creativity would be shot. I thought I wouldn't be comfortable. And actually what has happened is like, I'm better than I've ever been. I have sort of access to like all my faculties now.
Clarity,
you know, And actually, I find inspiration comes way quicker now, or more often, because I'm not spending most of the day, sort of recovering from the day before. Literally have more time because, I can get up in the morning. And that's not to say that I'm not an early bird by any means. I go to bed late. If I'm working as well, I might have a lie-in, etc. But it's like, you just get back so much. Yeah. Like you do lose stuff, and actually getting sober is partially a grief. Like you have to grieve an old life and old ways you express yourself and ways you celebrated. It's still hard. Like, what do I do at like a birthday or like when you win something? It's just like, cheers, a glass of Coke just seems whack. Like it's just, and like, obviously alcohol-free beers are great, and so there's some sort of thing, but it's just not the same. Like going to a wedding, so one of my best friend's weddings, I'm a groomsman this summer in Greece, and it's going to be so amazing. But there's also going to be a little bit of me that's like, I'm not having a champers with everyone, But on the other side of that is, it's all right to just feel that. Yeah. To feel a little bit like, and then just it be, and move on. Yeah. Like that feeling will pass. And also what's better is I'm actually able to be at my friend's wedding, and I'll be fine. It's cool. I think people think that to be all right or to be sober or something like that means never thinking about these things or never feeling these things. And it's like, no, like you're going to. That's
like my mate Stephen. He said in the summer when you're driving past a pub, he's like, I could sink a cold one.
Bro, it's peak, especially like you catch a whiff of, there's a particular smell of like a pint and a cigarette. And it's just like, bro, my body's we've been trained to do kids to just be, that is the smell of summer, I'm ready to have it. And not even in a messed up way. It's just like just to be in the park having beers with friends, and like it's just to be fully involved like that is great, and I miss that. And I just personally I'm pretty selective with the things that I go to, but also I'll go hour and a half and I'll go home. It's like I've got no business being at most anything after like 11, because what happens then?
The stuff that shouldn't happen.
Or just like people just getting like messy, and it's just like, I'm actually all right.
Like, I'd rather see you in the light.
I'd rather see it the first bit of the night, which we both remember and was nice. After shows as well, I tend to just go home. I leave pretty quickly after gigs.
It feels like talking to myself a little bit, with not to say in a cheesy way, but like I would, I still drink, but I have had that conversation. I drink a lot less, don't get me wrong, but like say, we spoke about this in the car, when it is that thing of the be-all and end-all of being a musician. I need to be this singer. This is what I am. Like, the world knows me as this. And then you get dropped from, like, your third label. And then it's the fan, and you're doing stuff you shouldn't be doing. And you're drinking, and you're trying to fill the void that you've always expected yourself. You expect yourself to have made it, whatever that means.
Whatever that means. Exactly.
And it's so beautiful that you can just say, like, it's cool to be creative. And say for example, when you're out and about at like your friends, and the biggest payoff is going to do what you love most, and knowing that you're going to be fresh for that the next day, or fresh for that in the night, as most writers not write. Best ideas come overnight. Like I can relate to that so hard. Like it's nice to talk to. There's not many people around this way either. Like Essex in particular is pretty one-minded. And then when you realise you're cut from a certain cloth that not many other people are, and that's not to say like, oh, look at us, like we're great. It's just, again, it's just like you're different. Like your dreams are a bit different. Your admirations are slightly different. And then people don't quite get it when you start playing up. You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know, you hit something with me there. Like I think it's important to talk about. I
do as well, especially as men. It's like, we get hurt you know, your dreams change, your dreams don't work out, you get hurt, man. And it's a wound. It's a really deep, dark wound. And that's also where, like, I think a lot of people in prison, a lot of people I met in rehab, some proper wrong uns, they're just sad. They were hurt as kids, and they're still sad. And that's why that's not to say that they're not bad people.
No,
necessarily. There's been a chain reaction of things that's happened, and they've obviously made some poor choices. But it's like at the bottom of all of these things is pain. It is. It's hard to find which pain it is. I think that the question is finding out which pain it is for you. That's why I don't think actually, like, I'm completely abstinent from anything. So drink, drugs, cigarettes. I gave it all up. I know some people who gave up booze but still smoke. I know some people who still do bugle and don't do anything else. I'm like, that's weird. It's disgusting. But I'm like, no. All of it. But the program I did was just zero, and I'm like, cool. That worked for me, but other people, they did 12-step and didn't go into a place. I went to like a 10-month residential like hardcore thing. Some people do it themselves. They go to like some island, or they lock themselves in some place, the same way it is with nutrition, the same way it is with exercise. Sobriety is personal. Like, what works for you is not going to be the same thing that works for me. I don't think you can preach this is the one way to do it. There are things that have worked for lots of people, like AA, like NA, like those sorts of fellowships. But I think you should give yourself a break. You should be kind to yourself as you're discovering who you are in these ways. Most people haven't had this conversation with themselves, so they don't know why they're angry. They don't know why they're acting out. They don't know why they're drinking. It's like, okay, so be kind to yourself, explore those things, and see where that leads. If it means that you have to quit drinking, maybe that's what it means. But if it means that, I don't need to quit drinking, I actually need to chat to my dad because he really hurt me, and I actually need to hear him say that. Like, maybe that's what you need, and maybe that will then turn down this background radiation of anger in your life. I don't even know what the question was, but
no, it was lovely. It was lovely to hear it.
I think you're a therapist as well.
Yeah.
You're helping a lot of people.
I am
out
charging. So. I mean, mate, I've been in so much therapy, bro. Yeah.
Oh, listen, we've never had like a bass player in the pub before.
Nice.
And we do this game where we match off names against each other, and we'd love you to play it.
Okay.
I was going to go down the singer-songwriter route.
Okay.
But we've done that with previous people, and it always ends up John Lennon and things like that. So for the listeners as well, like, I just wanted to tackle bass players.
All right.
So this is your bass stopper, as we've called it now. So
wait. Let me get my. Let me.
Bearing in mind, I'm an athlete. I don't really know one of these bass figures, right? So just a little disclaimer there.
Okay.
Listen,
in case I say the names wrong.
I wrote these here. So basically, let's put it in I always put it in a point of view. Okay, let's do it a different way now. Arsenal or Chelsea, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you pick Chelsea because of your personal preferences.
Yeah.
Right? You say, all right, so Man City, Chelsea, because of what you said earlier. I can't choose. Then, right, void. Okay. So then we carry on with the names again. So I'm gonna start us off. So this is bass players. Okay. So Sid Vicious, Sex Pistols, or Dave Peacock from Chaz and Dave.
Sorry, Sid Vicious.
Why?
Sex Pistols. I prefer them as a band. Okay. Sex Pistols. Yeah, great band.
Sorry, Chaz and Dave.
Yeah, sorry, Chaz.
Sid Vicious or Geezer Butler?
Black Sabbath.
Geezer
Butler.
Yeah,
why is that?
Geezer's, I mean, better. And like Sid probably got a few moves off Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath, man, is such an underrated band. I don't know what was happening in Birmingham at that time, but it's just like lots of great music comes out of those kind of mash-up places.
I think Ozzy is one of the most underrated singers of all time.
And lyricists. There's some really cool lyrics as well.
Yeah.
Really, it was really arty, really weird, but also really like hard and like dark. Really, really cool. Geezer Butler's great.
Okay, So Geezer Butler.
Geezer.
Or Flea, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
It's got to be my man Flea, man.
Yeah.
He's one of the modern sort of G's. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very modern, actually. He's been around for quite a minute, but I'm a really big fan of him. Really big fan of like what he does. Again, it's like he plays funk, but in a punk way.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a really funny world that he occupies. And it's so funky and it's easy to dance to, etc. But it's actually really hard to play. The stuff that he does as consistently as he does while he dances around, etc. Top tip for any bass players in the house: when you're practicing, practice standing up. Like, learn your songs, for your gig, whatever, and then try to learn them, play them standing up at home, because you want to be able to perform it as you would before you get to like stage. Like, lots of people do that. They practice at home sat down doing all this complicated stuff, and then they get to the gig and they can't do it the same way, or it's not as comfortable because they've sort of dug those neural pathways sat down. It's like, obviously, to learn stuff, you need to sit down and get it down. But I always, once I've learned it, I get standing as soon as possible and start moving around the room. Not crazy, but just moving around so I can get used to. It's a whole different ball game expressing when you're standing and moving in the same context as you would.
If this is something you've learned
just from
practice,
the hard way, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure. I was just like, why can't I play the same stuff I was playing at home? Like, why is this so much harder? Why are my hands slipping everywhere? And like, you have to manage your adrenaline, like it's a physiological thing that you're going through, and you need to still be able to think clearly and execute, but also be vibing and be stood up and look cool.
Yeah, I used to find it with the guitar. I used to, in the end, because I was always leaned over, it was like that. And then when I'd stand up, the guitar would look like a ukulele. So I would have to strap it like here.
Like
and it was like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Flea or Paul Cinnamon?
Oh, Paul Cinnamon for sure.
Cinnamon buns.
Paul Cinnamon. He's actually a friend of mine.
Okay.
The Clash are one of the greatest bands ever, and I know him through Damon, and having sort of just been around him a bunch. He's so cool, and like, he dresses immaculately, and it's just like he's really arty and he's just interesting and deep, and he's also that. It's like, it's such a cool. He's like really, really sweet, really, really kind, really, really punk, really, really mature, but also really silly. It's like a really fun.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing, and some of his bass lines are just so cool. And again, he's like, it's not that, if we're talking about just technicality, like Flea will shred everyone you've mentioned off. Like, he'll play them off the table, like hands down. But I bet like Paul Cinnamon has written more bass lines that you can sing or that would move you. You know what I mean?
100%. He's basically Murdoch, right? Like
he's sort of inspired for sure.
He's the sort of geezer that I used to, as a musician, look at photos and think, I wish I looked like him.
But he looks like that.
I know.
He just is that.
His son is identical to him as well, isn't he? Like, I was like, wow, that's like almost doppelganger.
Some strong genes.
Right, Paul Cinnamon or Bernard Edwards, Chic.
Paul Simo.
Okay.
All day.
That's how I'm going to say it. Paul Simo.
Yeah.
Or John Paul Jones.
Mate, that's a tough one. I'm going to stick with Simo.
Okay.
Why is that over him?
Again, I think obviously Led Zeppelin, amazing band, some obviously iconic things, but I think I probably would say I play more like Paul Cinnamon than I do. John Paul Jones.
Okay. So Paul Cinnamon or Vadim White from Earth, Wind and Fire.
Simo.
Okay. Simo or Bootsy Collins?
That's another deep one, actually, because Bootsy's the man.
Yeah.
And just, so influential. even more so than just in like bass players, but just like sonically, like as a producer, some of the sounds, like jumping into electronic music and like normal bands using different pedals because Bootsy used them, and his influence, Prince, like so far reaching. But I think my spirit is just way more in line with, I come from the more Paul Simonon school of rock.
I get that. I love Bootsy Collins on Silk Sonic album and all that. It's so good. Hey!
Yeah.
Right, this one would stump me. Okay, Paul Simonon or James Jamerson?
Okay, now this is James Jamerson then. I mean, I think he's probably the godfather. Like everybody on this list would probably say James Jamerson. Like he's that guy.
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom.
Like all of those like just hits from the golden age of pop like that from the 60s, and just his style. I play jazz basses, well, jazz inspired basses. I used to have a proper jazz bass. Just one of the most influential sort of Motown style players. But again, everybody's stolen moves. We've all stolen moves, and in fact, you don't even necessarily know that you've stolen the moves, because his influence runs that deep. It's like he influenced your influence. It's like he's that guy. Just Google James Jamerson, everyone, and just check that list of things he's played on.
It's like Johnson with the blues, but with the bass, really.
It's outrageous.
Like unbelievable.
Outrageous.
Like Through the Grapevine and stuff like that.
Outrageous.
Okay, James Jamerson or Geddy Lee?
James Jamerson.
Okay, this might be a rush now, mightn't it? Hold on. Right, so James Jamerson or Victor Wooten?
James Jamerson.
You said this one.
All right, James Jamerson or John Entwistle?
John Entwistle. Oh, mate, that's hard. He was the bass player in the Who.
Yeah, okay.
Who are going to be at the Royal Albert Hall this month, actually.
Oh, really?
Name dropping, but I know the guy playing bass. Like, go.
Mate, we love it. Name drop all you like.
Yeah, big up to John Button. That's really hard because I love John Entwistle.
Personal preference as well, like him.
I think. I also wish of all the bass players, I wish I got to see live before he passed. I would have loved to see John Entwistle play. I might. This is hard. John Entwistle.
Wow. Okay. Didn't think we'd get past James Jamerson.
John Entwistle or Larry Graham?
Oh.
Sly and the Family Stone, man.
All right. Okay. I'm going Larry. He's just probably the coolest bass player of all time.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
Quite possibly.
His signature white bass.
Mate, Sly, what a band group, whatever. Project again.
Insane.
Unbelievable. Right, so Larry Graham or Jaco Pastorius, Weather Report?
Larry Graham. I've got thoughts on Jaco. I did not. Obviously, he's like one of the goats, and everyone. Again, you're one of your influences. But I think I kind of just got put off because everybody growing up playing bass was just like love it, like just Jaco, like everyone was just like giving it that, and I get turned off immediately by that. Like obviously Jaco's one of the goats, and I think you should study him if that's your vibe, etc. And again, it's one of those guys that you probably play, if you're doing harmonics on your bass, you're probably playing stuff you've stolen from Jaco. And Jaco is a goat, but wasn't mine growing up. I respect Jaco's playing and the techniques and the style. Again, J-bass style, that sound. But no, Larry Graham for me. Okay.
Larry Graham or Paul McCartney?
Sir Paul McCartney all day long. Yeah, I think Macca is still somehow underrated as a bass player. One of the best bass players to ever sing and play, because he can just sing like he's only singing and play like he's only playing bass while he's doing both. a lot of his bass lines, like dum dum boom doom, doom, like, and then from that to dum 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 dum, like they're so melodic and like vibey, like you can they're hooks in themselves, and obviously he's a melody guy. So and again, I think in terms of, you know, obviously all these guys are G's. But as sort of a player that I aspire to, or someone that I think I play a lot more like, if I said I played like any of these, like Larry or someone, I play more like Sir Paul McCartney.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Sir Paul McCartney wins your bass stopper.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes
definitely.
sense.
Just out of curiosity, we might have missed a few off the list there. What's your Mount Rushmore of bass players? For there,
Well, I guess kind of like rock and roll. It's Macca, James Jamerson, Pino Palladino, and there's 4 of them in it.
Yeah.
Macca, Pino, James Jamerson, and and what's her name? Carol Kay.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
She's been in a lot of lists.
Yeah, no, Carol Kay, not Carol King.
Carol Kay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could jam with any musician, who would it be?
Alive or dead?
Benny.
Past or present? Should we do one alive and one dead?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the dinner party.
Yes, exactly. I mean, dead. If we're doing it like that, probably Fela Kuti. Fellow Nigerian, one of the coolest musicians to ever do it.
That was actually at the beginning of our questions to ask about is the influence on your music, actually.
not really, but he's an influence on me just by, he was alive when he died when I was in Nigeria, when he died in like the mid 90s, and I remember
7,
it.
wasn't it, or something,
I was just before I moved here, and I remember it, and I didn't really get it at the time what he was about or anything, but now looking back retrospectively, just putting out bringing a positive message about Africans to the world, the diaspora, but also being an influence to like James Brown. Like obviously he was taking stuff from like the funk and soul guys from the States, but then creating Afrobeat with Tony Allen and turning it into something else. And then it's like, there was this beautiful conversation between sort of West African music at the time and the sort of Southern, like the American music at the time. They were united in a common struggle, but I think he reminds me of what I hope comes back to being what sort of quote unquote black music can be, whereas it can be respected, it can maybe have something to say, but also just it's not about just flexing, it's not about just being cool, it's and that's not to say that every song has to be really deep or anything like that, or has to be like a political song or something, but he was just undeniable, and I think there's something about that's like, he was so cool. And and again, he's one of your influences.
Am I right in saying that when he went to prison it was called something, and then when he moved to his house he called it the same name as the prison cell? Was that right?
I'm not sure about that, but he has a legendary club called the Shrine,
right?
Which is actually where Africa Express, they went there. This is before I joined that project with Flea. Actually, Flea was there that year. I wish I went. But so that's dead, Fela Kuti. And alive, I would say, oh man, I don't know, David Byrne.
Okay. Yeah.
We could actually do something really great, I'm sure.
Oh mate, we'll make a clickbait.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Dave, please, holler at your boy.
Okay, what's your take on the music industry at the moment? being from like similar grounds and stuff like that, like in and out of record labels, it seems, even just meeting you now, talking about it, like for me, it's quite interesting to ask someone on this pod, what was your take from, especially from probably a similar time where you felt you had to be signed by a record label.
We kind of needed to a bit. Like, it was like a 5-album deal. Like, that stuff does not happen anymore.
No.
I don't know. But I'm always on the side of, in general, I'm all right with things changing. I'm like, because they have to. I'm not one of these, like, I didn't grow up collecting vinyl. I'm not one of these people who's like, music now like there's only, all the best music was in the 60s. I'm like, that's not true. Obviously to put music out, it was more likely that you had to be great back then to stand out even at all, whereas now obviously it's democratized, so you just get to hear more music. But that's not to say that there isn't great music. And I think just by the law of averages, the fact that more people are able to make music will mean that on average there'll be more people doing great stuff. But it's complicated time because we're having to the teething pains of things like AI and streaming becoming the main way that people consume music. And now it's a subscription model, and musicians are having to now be more than just musicians. We're having to become brands, and we're having to become businesses in a different way, which is a new challenge. So I think on the one hand, it's exciting in many ways because there's new opportunities and you just have to branch out into other ways. But it's sad because I grew up being like, if you're a musician, you just made dope music and performed well. And that was a career. Whereas just making great music isn't enough. Just playing great shows isn't enough. Getting people's attention is the currency. And if you're uncomfortable with that, I'm super comfortable with that. So like, actually, I'm adapting to that kind of the reels and TikTok sort of side of things I'm all right with that. It's also a challenge, and I think it's a tool. That's all it is. It's not the devil, but even though there's some messed up stuff out there, but I lean towards how can we use this? How can we reclaim the stuff that sucks? How can we not just let the people making bad music prevail? We're also kind of powerless because these companies are so big and making so much money. It's like, what can I do? But hopefully things will start changing, or rather, hopefully we'll just get some more clarity of what's actually there's new government legislation that people have sort of been petitioning and voting on about allowing AI companies to train their AIs on all copyrighted music, so on everything for free. These companies, that's what they want to do. And loads of artists have stood up, like including Damon and Annie Lennox and big artists. They did like this protest album thing that was just like, it was like 10 tracks. It was like silence.
Right.
Was it 10 tracks? Can't remember how many tracks, but it was in like a
genius.
in a sort of a bit of a protest about that. And we've had lots of stuff with the music venue, with small venues, like the Music Venue Trust have been really, really pushing saving live music venues, like grassroots level venues, so people have a place to play as they're coming up, because obviously music is one of the biggest money makers in this country, and since COVID is still but I think now there's that whole thing with like arena, like 1% of like revenues that are like revenue from arena shows goes into grassroots development, so that's a positive thing. But yeah, mate, it's changing, it's different. I'm excited as well as kind of scared. But I think what you guys are doing, for example, is an example of what you have to do in the modern days. Like start a pod or do something else, like find another way of expressing yourself, because like unless your streaming numbers are insane, you're not making peas just from playing your songs. You have to cultivate a fan base, you have to cultivate a following, you have to cultivate an identity that you present that you can then make money from in some way, or at least, or use this, or get attention, which again is the currency. It's like draw people to you and then use that for whatever. But yeah, it's interesting times, man. I don't really know how it's going to go, but yeah.
You get a rise of authenticity again. I feel we had a Shani White sitting.
Oh yeah. She's dope.
Yeah, and I love her music.
Yeah,
and yeah, she come in and she's very, I'll do it on my own type thing. And like, I've got a good friend of mine, David Snedden, who I write a lot of my stuff with, and he writes with a lot of other artists. And he says it's so mad to see kids again picking up guitars and just they use socials, like you say, to help, and they have to do it. But there is this side of it that's like, we just want to make music again. We want to go to gigs again. We want to experiment.
Like be in the room.
Yeah, be in the room. Like, God, like how many shows are we going to have to watch on like a TikTok live or something? Like, that's what it's going to come to, isn't it? And it is coming to that. Like, but you go out and then you see all these young lads that wasn't even born when Oasis released a record, and they're going back into it. They're getting back into bands, and
I really hope it's a rise of people doing more things in real life.
Yeah,
I really do, because also like you get found out. It's like you might have loads of TikTok followers, etc. It's like, can you throw down on stage? Like, are you gonna like? It's a real thing. Artists who blow up on TikTok and then book big slots at festivals or book big gigs, and it's their first gigs, and they go on stage, and it's just like, which I think is terrible management. But it's like, that's really bad. That can actually be quite traumatic. It's like them dreams that you go to school and you look down and you're naked. It's like, imagine that you're getting pushed out on stage in front of thousands of people who think you know what you're doing, and it turns out you didn't, or you don't really like that. It's like, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's people think that just because you can get popular means you can do it.
Yeah.
Like, this job is really wild.
Have you ever been on a stage and you thought like,
I mean, not really, because I mean, when I say I've played to less than no people, like I've done it all. So like, I'm not scared of anyone. There have been some shows where it's just like, this is terrible. Like I've hated it, but I've never felt, and there's been times when I felt nervous. There's times when I felt, like I said, unprepared. But thankfully I've been, even just like gigging from, like I had this little skate punk band when I was in school. I was also in the school choir. It's just like I've been performing for forever. So it's like I can kind of, I've had a gradual entry into this. I think it's really wild going from like 0 to like 1,000 capacity venue. It's crazy. It's like I'd highly recommend to anyone listening who's a musician or performer in any way, go to your local open mic night. Like, play your local anything first. Play your friends' student halls. Play in your friend's living room or in your living room. Like, start playing gigs now. Don't book them. Don't wait to book them. Put them on. Put shows on in your friends' spaces, in your garden, whatever. And then hopefully, as things blow up for you, then you can start, getting booked at bigger places, or you start booking bigger places. But don't try and blow up and go straight to like arenas. It's really, arenas are really fun to play, but it would be the worst place to be if you were unsure if you should be there. It's nothing worse than loads of people looking at you when you feel terrible.
Being totally honest as well, you get a TikTok star rock up to the Royal Albert Hall or whatever, I'm gonna be like, who the f*** are you?
Yeah.
You ain't done the work.
No. It's this hallowed ground, man. It's this hallowed ground. That's my favourite. I think that's my favourite venue in the world, man.
Yeah.
Places, it just feels special, man.
Mate, when I was younger, because I started off in jazz, so I was like a young crooner or whatever. And sorry to go off, we can cut this out because this is about you. But I was doing Pizza Express, Dean Street, and in the audience, like I was singing with like all these Ronnie Scott's musicians and stuff, signed to Sony just for a bit of backlog, and it was so weird, like such a Justin Bieber thing, like it's the closest that I can ever be like that, and maybe that's why I'm a bit weirded out by music sometimes now, But Tony Bennett's best mate was sitting in the audience, and he was like, "Hey, Tony Bennett's playing the Royal Albert Hall. Do you know it?" Like that.
Do you know it?
Yeah, I know. I was like, "Yeah,
yeah." It's not a pub, mate.
I know, right? And yeah, he literally was like, "I've got tickets tomorrow. You want to come and see it?" And like my best mate Bob, who's been on the podcast, me and him were like jazzers as like 14-year-olds. We loved it, like proper, swing music. But we loved Billie Holiday. We loved
big band and
we loved all that stuff. And then we got to meet Tony Bennett backstage, like R.I.P. Tony Bennett. Like, I mean, we're talking because Sinatra's my hero, right? But to meet Tony Bennett,
he's in the same.
He is
contemporaries, man.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
They're unbelievable. Listen,
isn't he 1,000 years old?
He's recently just died. He passed away.
Sounds mate, R.I.P.
He's died. When did he die? He died about 2 years ago. But
what an innings!
I was that was his 80th birthday singing at the Royal Albert Hall.
Wow! So that was a minute ago.
Yeah. That was a minute ago. So I was 14 then.
Yeah, so that's 16.
Yeah. And like I was. Mate, I still got the photo, I still got the signed ticket. I got a photo with him, and then he got a little bit like, "Who are these kids?" And my mate never got one.
Right.
Which I understand. You've been in the game for however long. Listen, it's coming up to the end. Really appreciate you coming in,
mate. My pleasure. It's been a good hang, bro.
Yeah, listen. I've got another question, and then I'd like you to play something.
Sure,
if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
if that's cool.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a young musician, young singer, young songwriter, young bass player, young guitarist, whatever, coming up?
One of the best pieces of advice I've been given was from a woman called Louise Davis, who was the band leader at my church in Bromley Baptist Church. Back when I was a kid, I used to play a little bit in the church band, but I would always be really self-deprecating. Like after after the service, people would come up and say, "Oh, thank you for playing in the band, and thank you for leading worship. That was really nice," And I'd always just be like, "Well, I didn't think it was, but whatever, thank you." Or I'd always like on their compliment before taking it.
Right.
And she came up to me and was just like, "Dude, don't do that. Like, if someone offers you a compliment, just take it, regardless of how you feel. Number one, it's a gift. You don't. On someone's gift, but also it's a bit like you're saying. She said it's a bit like you're saying you don't value their judgment, and I really that's stuck with me ever since. And I think there's something to be said for when you're doing something like this. It's partly yours, but once it's given, it's theirs as well. And if they tell you it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
Just step away. But also, you shouldn't be like giving this sort of negative talk about yourself to other people is crazy. Because actually you believe it. The more you repeat it, the more you believe it, and it's actually the more likely it is to come true. I just think if someone's giving you a compliment, take it. It's a gift, and I think there's something about that. It also just shows that maybe your judgment isn't good. You thought it was, but if everyone's saying it's good, it's like you're the odd one out. So it was probably good. Like your mind plays tricks on you. It's an inside job. Like, just take the compliment.
You live in your head as a musician, though, right,
mate?
And you compare yourself at very young ages to the best of the best that you only ever hear. And
Tony Bennett. It's just like, well, like, relax. It's just like, why would you do that? Like, you wouldn't expect a 5-year-old to be able to beat David Beckham at football. It's just like, why? Like, it's crazy. It's just like, oh, I'm never going to be Lionel Messi. It's like, so.
Yeah.
There's loads of other players,
exactly.
And you're the next you.
Yeah, exactly. That's quality. You're the next you. Listen, Seye, really appreciate you coming in, man.
My pleasure.
Been an absolute pleasure. That is the bar shut.
Hey,
but we want one more. He's gonna play a song.
One more song. Well, all right. I'll play you one. It's my current single, actually. It's actually quite a good idea.
Nice one.
Let me just. I'll record this for the people as well.
Yeah, do it, man. We're not going to edit anything either. You go for it.
Yeah, this might be. I didn't expect to sing today. It's called Fire Escape. We only have one cigarette to share. Waiting under a fire escape while the rain falls through your hair. Kaleidoscopic patterns in the drain. Gin and tonic is running out, but I can't complain. 'Cause baby, it's you and me tonight. Baby, it's you and me tonight. You got the kind of irreverence I want. Like you don't want to be relevant to anyone but you. You read erotic novels on the train. And you're taking up too much space inside my brain. 'Cause baby, it's you and me tonight. Baby, it's you and me tonight. I'm falling into your deep brown eyes. Baby, it's you and me. Oh, oh, oh.
There you have it. Seye Adelekan. He definitely can, mate.
Hey.
I tell ya. Thanks very much, mate. That's the Champ and Contender. Over and out.
Peace. That was class.
That was
Nice.
class.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Well good.
Nice one.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having me
Appreciate
up
it.
in the space.
Great. I appreciate it.
Great.